Hi everybody, Mr. Ruvo here. Today we are still doing topic 3.1, periodic phenomena, but we're actually going to look at um, the FRQ 3 on the AP test will always be kind of modeled in the same way. So we're going to do an example. So that way you guys have this to always look back on. All the FRQ 3s, at least as of now, the time of recording this video, they all kind of follow the same model. Okay. Pictures might be different, the scenario might be different, but the idea is going to look very similar to this. The questions, I should say, will look similar to this. And yeah, if you know how to do this, you will be fine on the FRQ3. All right. So they have a picture here. They kind of explain what it is. The figure shows a large clock mounted to a vertical wall. The clock has an 8-inch long moving minute hand. The center of the clock is 120 inches directly above the floor. At time t equals 0, the minute hand is pointed directly up at the 12. However, the clock is not working properly, and the minute hand is moving twice as fast as it should. Thus, the next time the minute hand points up at 12 is at t equals 30. As the minute hand moves, the distance between the end point of the minute hand and the floor periodically decreases and increases. All right, so what they want us to do here, they are telling us this, it's a periodic function, right? So it says the periodic function h models the distance in inches between the endpoint of the minute hand and the floor as a function of time t in minutes. Okay, so first question is going to give you a very similar looking graph and ask you determine some possible coordinate points. Okay, now they kind of give you, they say this is the midline, and then there's 5 points, F, G, J, K, and P. No scale is indicated, no axes are presented, and we just need to find possible coordinate points. So now technically there are lots of different answers to this, depending on how, like, when you say each one of these points are, but we can kind of go back to this image and help us look at this. So we know at time 0, it's pointing up here. So this point right here, we're at time 0, and the center of the clock is 120 meters. 100, oh man, getting my units all mixed up. 120 inches, okay, off the ground to the center. And then it says 8-inch hand. So that means that the height at time 0 is 128, and that's going to be like the maximum height it's going to be, right? Then they tell us that this clock is moving really quick, so that this point down here, that the next time it hits this, it's back at 30 seconds. 30 minutes. Man, I'm doing good with my units. So it's back pointing up at 30 minutes, which means halfway, which would be at 15 minutes, we are how far away? Well, again, 8, if it's going this way, this is 8 inches down from 120. So that would mean that we would just do 120 minus 8, and that would give us the 112. Okay. And that would be a minimum. Okay. And then the other 2 points that we're going to figure out are these two to the right and to the left. So again, if 0 is straight up, 15 is straight down, half of that is 7.5. Okay. And that is when it's at the middle, which means the height is 120. And then we kind of do that same idea here. Well, 15, we're going another 7.5 minutes. So that this point would be 22.5, comma, 120. And then we're back at the 30-minute mark. And guess what? We just figured out all those points. We just got to think about, okay, we have the first point is 128. That's the first point I'm going to figure out where it would match up here. Well, it was a maximum. Again, look at all the y values, 128, 120, 112, 120, and then 128 again. It's the highest point, so that's going to be a maximum. So let's find a maximum point on here. Well, F and P are both maximums. I'm going to make my life easier and call the one on the left the 0. So 0, 128, which means the next point, when it's in the middle, hence the midline, it's the 7.5. So then I have 7.5, 120. And then when I get to J, I'm at 15 because this is the minimum value, which was 112. And then K, back up to the mid, which is at 22.5 and 120. And then I get back to the maximum, which was at 30 minutes. And the height was 128 inches. Okay, so there we go. There's our 5 points. But again, you could have technically started with P being 0, 128. Now, that would then make it where we have to worry about negative time. You could have lots of different answers because it's a clock. It'll keep repeating. So you could have this FB30 and then go 7.5. Like, yeah, lots of different answers. This is probably the best answer because it's the easiest in terms of the work. So yeah. All right, then there's always going to be a second question. And this is going to use your answers for what you did in part A. So it wants the t coordinate of G, which G we're just going to rewrite so I don't have to scroll up too often. So it's 7.5. 7.5 comma 112. Just kidding, 120. Yeah, that's G. Is T1 and point J is that low point, which is 50. Oh no, my pen is not working. There we go. 15 comma 112. Okay. So it wants us to know, or it's going to ask us a question on this interval from G to J, which of the following is true about H? And I'll let you know they're always going to ask this same question, or it's going to have these same answer choices. It might be different points, so you just have to pay attention to it. So here, H is positive. Well, positive. Okay, so it is positive because the Y values are positive here. And it stayed positive, right? This never went to the negatives. And then, is this increasing or decreasing? Well, just look at the graph or look at these numbers, right? So 120 to 112, that is decreasing. So your answer is B. Okay. And then the third question, which is really part of part B, describe how the rate of change is changing over the interval T1 to T2. So the rate of change, and this one I'll just type because my handwriting is atrocious. The rate of change is increasing over T1 to T2. And the reason why we know it's increasing, that the rate of change is increasing, because this is, be careful, it's not the graph is increasing. And the reason we know is because H is concave up on that interval. So this is going all the way back to unit 1, like 1.1. We know how to do this. We could have been asked this question way back when. We know this is the concave up part of the graph from G to K. So G to J, that's an increasing rate of change. And so that means H is concave up. All right. So again, this is a very, very consistent with what AP will ask on the third multiple choice question always, at least at the time of this video. So, if you understand this, you should understand that question pretty well. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.